Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Darce podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darce podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for a fantastic episode of the Darce podcast. Oh my God, Slick is barking because we have a UFC 314 card with a title on the line between Lopes and Volkanovski and Lord Gene Silva fighting Bryce Mitchell in a fight with a lot of bad blood on it. Tons of bangers stacked on this card, guys. Co-main event delivers. I mean, I'm excited for so many. But we got to get right into things with my guys, Mr. Plus Money, Slick Montana, and Cal on the ones and twos. Great to see you guys. What up, Scott, in the comments? Smash the like button on your way in. Share it. Tell a friend to tell a friend that UFC 314 breakdowns early in the week are right here on the Darce podcast. And get subscribed and locked in with your boys. Wow, fellas. UFC Fight Night recap. I'm going to go through it quick because I'm too excited about this one. Mixed results from us. We had all across the board. Slick took the week off. And you got some right, got some wrong. Highlight, Mr. Plus, you hit like a plus 2,000 parlay for your people. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, I wish I could have gave it out on our last show. The Martin Boudet ended up getting another opponent, so we didn't really talk about that fight. But we took him by points, and we took Reese McGee by knockout, and the doctor stopped it when the lip was absolutely split open. We cashed in on the plus 2,045. Although the bus crashed, we're looking to get back on track this week. And hey, so your boy's going to be there live in full effect in Miami, front row, section 108. If you're in the building, come through. I'm going with my boy, the NJ betting guru. I'm sure you guys know who he is.
Wow, big time, yo. Go into the card. You'll be live there. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be fucking electric. Slick, I got to ask you, man, going over to this 314 card, looking at it, what's your favorite card? What's your favorite fight on the card? Forget the favorite bet, just a favorite fight from an entertainment perspective.
I mean, honestly, this is just a pay-per-view that top to bottom, any fight that you're not taking no henny breaks during this card, man. Like this card, you better go during commercial or something, but this card is just full of bangers. I just can't wait to watch. All these guys are electric on the main card. A lot of guys are electric on the prelims, so I just can't wait to watch the whole card.
Hell yeah, man. My guy Alex Schwartz has first live show for him. Good to see you here, my guy. Jacob's in the comments. Fire away with any of your thoughts, any of your picks, any questions you have for us. We'll answer them live. Right before we jump into our picks, Mr. Plus, favorite fight on the card for you?
As excited as I am to see Gene Silva back in there, that my favorite fight's got to be the main event. I got to know what's going to happen with Volkanovski versus Lopes, man. We got it. This is a fight that has to happen. We need to see if the torch is being passed or if the old dog still got some tricks up his sleeve. And you just never know with Volk.
Well said. Is it going to be a changing of the guard fight, or will he retain that dominant status once again? All right, guys, here we go into the UFC 314 card, and we're starting off with the man who was on the bench last week but is leading off this week. Salute to the Slick Report. Oh, that was
Philly in the game, and you know we on time. Slick reports coming, ain't never gonna stop. MMA cappers with the knowledge and the flow. From the East Coast, getting that paper like a Philly bankroll. Rocking every fight, keep the audience on hold.
So this week for the Slick Report, we're going with a nice plus money dog. We're going with Mitch Raposo money line in this spot over Suma Darji. I believe this is just a great spot for Mitch Raposo because at the end of the day, we know Suma Darji, he's a great striker, lengthy striker. He has like an 8-inch reach advantage over Mitch Raposo. But I just believe that this is the perfect matchup for his coming back fight. You know, his last fight, he fought a tough guy that we know in Andre Lima, who is now considered probably a future top 10, top 15 at this weight. At the end of the day, Suma Darji has shown grappling defects in almost each of his fights. Tim Elliott, that's known for his cardio and durability, basically drowning you in those second and third rounds, subbed him with the first takedown that he landed on Suma Darji, only being, especially in the first round. I'm not too high on Suma Darji. I understand he has the length, but one thing that we know about him is that 14 of 14 of his 16 wins, 13 of his 16 wins have come via knockout. I don't believe he's going to knock out a good, durable guy like Mitch Raposo. And Mitch Raposo has shown great cardio, great durability, and he's shown in the UFC that, the UFC must love this guy because he lost it on the Contender Series against Jake Halley, a guy that had promised hope on the Contender Series, and then he lost his first UFC debut fight against Andre Lima, who I just talked about. I just think this is a perfect spot for him. We know him to have. He has gotten knockouts in the 4th round, gotten subs in the 3rd round. I know he has the great cardio edge in this spot. I know if anything, I know he has the heart because we've seen Sumadarji in that Matt Schnell fight when he couldn't finish a guy like Matt Schnell, who we know is the KO king. You bet against him, KO every fight, it's going to cash. And Sumadarji wasn't able to KO him and instead got out-grappled and submitted in that 2nd round. I think Mitch Raposo is, at the end of the day, he's going to get hit in this spot, but I don't trust Sumadarji to put him away. Give me Mitch Raposo money line, plus 154, and I think he could actually finish Sumadarji in that 2nd or 3rd round.
Wow, going with Mitch Raposo as a dog. A lot of dogs I'm looking at in this card, and I didn't expect this one to be coming from Slick, but I'll tell you this much, Mr. Plus, the second I saw Sumadarji like minus 180, I was like, ugh, that doesn't sound good at all. So I'm kind of leaning towards Slick's side. I like his points with the grappling upside. What do you think about this fight, Mr. Plus?
Yeah, not a lot of value on Sumadarji here. He's susceptible to the submission. I like everything that Slick said. And although the reach disadvantage is there for Mitch Raposo, I think he's a guy who can get inside, take this fight to the mat. And if he does, which I think he's going to, I like exactly what Slick said to happen, a finish in rounds 2 or 3 by submission. So I'm probably going to be taking a little half unit on something like that. I hit it on Andre Lima 2 weeks ago, submission in rounds 2 or 3. I think we're going to see that again. That's the way Sumadarji, I feel, is going down. And listen, when you have wins like Malcolm Gordon on your belt, that's your knockout. It just doesn't impress me. He's got no real good wins. Whenever he fights somebody that's half decent, like Tim Elliott, like Matt Schnell, he takes the L. I think he's taking it again against Mitch Raposo here for sure.
I like it, man. I like I'm tailing this breakdown right here. Slick's on Raposo money line, and he likes a late finish, perhaps 2nd or 3rd. Plus is seeing that as a read too. I'm jumping all aboard this one, guys. So Slick report, Mitch Raposo, guys. We're liking it. Salute to that. Seeing all you guys in the comments. Fire away, my guy Jeff Hatley. Diamond Sparkle. What a name. Diamond Sparkle. Shit. I'm feeling good on this card. I think we're going to agree on a lot of spots. So hopefully we can all cash together. Speaking of all cashing together, let's see if we can all jump aboard and hop on the Mr. Plus Parlay Bus.
Mr. Plus, Parlay Bus, bet it all in trust. Jabs and hooks, it's all about the rush. Put it down on the underdog, never hush. Odds stack high, feel the thrill, that's a must. And I'll see you when that shit cashes.
Let's all cash in on a plus 242 on this week's Mr. Plus Parlay Bus. I'll see you guys when this shit cashes. Let's get it going. Leg number 1, I'm taking Sean Woodson. I'm a big Sean Woodson fan, man. This guy is rangy, he's lengthy, super hard to take down, and super clean on the feet. He's fighting against Dan Ige. I think a lot of the public money might be coming in on Dan Ige. I think you might see this line move a little bit in our favor, taking Woodson, so we can get some better odds, because right now Woodson is the slight favorite, and rightly so. He can beat Dan Ige. Dan Ige's going to have to land that one-hitter quitter, and don't get me wrong, while he's got the slick boxing, his stand-up, slick boxing and great stand-up, I don't think he can get in there on a guy like Sean Woodson. He's too rangy, pointy, moves around. He's called the sniper, but I really think he's more like a spider in there. Crazy, big, moves around, looks like the demon from Legion. And listen, I'm just not fucking around with this guy, Sean Woodson. He's getting me the victory. It's probably going to be by a decision because he doesn't really knock anyone out. But give me Sean Woodson, leg number 1. Leg number 2 of the bus. You know what time it is. We're going with Gene Silva. And listen, I'm a big guy. I'm a big, not religious, but I'm a big faith guy. I love God. Bryce Mitchell abuses that shit in the most wrong ways, bro. And this kid is going to pay for it severely when he sees Gene Silva in the octagon. Don't get me wrong. Bryce Mitchell has good grappling and usually can take some guys down. Not with Gene Silva. Guy's going to keep it wherever he wants it. He's super duper point. What word am I looking for, boys? He's like Sorry, I'm losing it. Anyway, Gene Silva, he is the man. He's our guy. Bark that shit to the bank. You know that's coming in hot. This guy, he's just going to hit you from every angle, and he's a real professional. Fighting nerds are on the up and up. I don't think they've lost yet. It ain't going to be on Saturday. I'm going to be in the building barking with him, with this guy. Leg number 3 of the bus. We're going to England here. We're taking Paddy the Baddy. Man, he's just going to be the bigger guy. I think he can really have the grappling advantage. I think he can take Michael Chandler down. I think he could sub him. And listen, Chandler, not very active. When he is, 4 months ago, lost to Olives. Before that, I feel like he ruined part of his career waiting for that McGregor fight that never fucking panned out. Now he's going to fight Paddy the Baddy, a kid who's on the come up, a kid who they want to be big. Man, this is a perfect spot for Paddy to move up even a little bit more in the rankings. I like this kid. I think he gets it done by submission or decision, but I think it's going to be Paddy all day. I'm not seeing a knockout, though. Maybe a little brawl in the beginning, but Paddy's going to be smart enough to take this where it needs to go and get this victory and stay on that incline. And I'll see you motherfuckers when that shit cashes.
Plus banger. Plus 242 on the Mr. Plus parlay bus this week. JB's liking it in the comments. He says bags. And Jacob says Paddy is a scary leg. Well, let's talk about all the legs, Jacob. Producer Play, too, is on it. Check out the comments. Cal's firing away some of his bets in the chat. Man, we start with his first leg, Sean Woodson. I like how you described him. He's like a tarantula out there. He's so rangy and lanky, and he's smooth with it, man. He's a slick boxer, like you said. He's got great footwork on the outside. He's got tricky feinting. His hand feinting is really nice. And once he gets into rhythm, he really throws up that kind of it's almost like that 52 blocks, like prison style, right? With the elbows and shit. It's nice, man. It's smooth. But I do worry a little bit. I would say this is the leg I'm the most afraid of, because that one-hitter quitter is always there. That detonator in that right hand, we know the power that Ige's got. And he also has some wrestling upside. You mentioned Sean Woodson, great takedown defense. He's thwarted a lot of guys. It's only gotten better. You're up against the fence trying to get him down. He's smashing you with elbows while he's got the wizard. But, man, we saw, take it for what you will, even against Lopes, a dangerous grappler. Fight had weird circumstances around it, Slick, but Ige had some wrestling success against a guy like Lopes, albeit being on, an hour notice that he came in with no weight cut. But what do you think of this matchup between a powerful guy like Ige, who's fought some really good guys, versus a guy like Woodson, who very few people only one guy has been able to defeat?
Yeah, I have to lean Woodson in this spot. The one thing that I really like about him that I think that's going to deter Dan Ige from coming in really how he usually come in, because the one thing that we know about Ige is that he's more of a counter puncher than anything. He's more of a guy that puts his hands on his guard, and the next thing you know, he snipes you with that left hook out of nowhere after you probably punch his guard like once or twice. And that's the one concern about me with him in this spot, because the one thing that we know about Woodson is that he's just going to bring a whole arsenal. He likes to keep a distance with his jab, and I just don't see Ige being able to close that distance to land that big shot. We know Woodson has that tall length in this division, and I'm not really too high on Dan Ige's wrestling upside in this spot, because yes, he had success against Diego Lopes, but Diego Lopes wants to be on the ground. He wants to be on his back, especially he was up 2 rounds. So in that 3rd round, we basically seen him cruise to a 29-28 decision win. I just think Woodson, we've seen him time and time again being doubted. And this is just the time that he actually puts a stamp on his name. We've seen him fight tooth and nail against Alex Caceres, a nice, lengthy guy just like him. But any other time that we've seen him fight short guys, he's just been able to dominate. I'm not too high on Dan. Like I said, Dan Ige to get that one-hitter quitter on a guy like Sean Woodson. I like his knees up the middle. I like he has a real underrated Muay Thai clinch. And that's one thing that I think that's going to deter Dan Ige a lot. I think it's a good spot for Sean Woodson to put a high-level name on his belt. We've seen him fight against rangy guys like fucking Fernando Padilla and knock him out in that 1st round. So I think this is a spot that we could just see him outpointing Dan Ige, and Dan Ige probably just waiting for that big shot that never comes.
I like the breakdown there, and I like how you guys are seeing it. So maybe talking me off of Ige, but interesting, or not that I was going to bet him, but being worried for Woodson there. So that's plus his first leg. Slick is digging it for sure. And the next leg up, oh my God, Slick, bark on him. He's got the fighting nerds glasses, bro. Lord Gene Silva. Plus, brought up the bad blood. There's a lot of religious weird animosity here. He's a demon. He's possessed by a demon versus Bryce Mitchell's wild belief system. I can't even start on that one, man. I mean, where do you begin? The stuff he said, I would go fishing with Hitler. Space doesn't exist. Have you ever heard of the firmament? Which I haven't. So yeah, we'll go on to that. But fighting wise, the only way that Mitchell survives the savagery of Silva, which is legit now, it's not just some hype against shitty opponents. He is sharp as fuck. It's by pinning him to the mat for 3 straight rounds, right? Slick, is he going to be able to do that with his wrestling, which is elite? I feel like Silva's BJJ and grappling defense might actually be slept on. I feel like he'll be able to hand himself. How do you see this playing out?
Ho, 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 ho. Had to let out a bark real quick. But this is just a spot that I think Silva's going to probably, Bryce Mitchell just might end up being like how his last fight ended. Probably sleep on the floor in the first round. And we've seen time and time again that Bryce Mitchell, I wouldn't say his wrestling is good. I would say his control and his grappling is good. And I just don't. I think the first takedown that Gene Silva throws off, and he freaking just ends up being on the feet. We've seen time and time again, Bryce Mitchell is not that confident on the feet. He ends up scrambling. And the one thing that I know about Gene Silva is that he's not gonna blitz on Bryce Mitchell. He's just gonna wait for Bryce Mitchell to do something dumb. And then that first punch that he cleans him with, he's just gonna knock him out. That's what I really think. Like, we've seen time and time again, Bryce Mitchell, whenever he gets the wrestling going, he's great. But whenever somebody deters him twice or 3 times, he's a fish out of water on the feet. He's more of a kicking guy. I don't think that Bryce Mitchell is going to be worried about those kicks. So I'm going to take Gene Silva by knockout. Probably, I might go crazy, and I might take a 60-second knockout in this spot.
Gone in 60 seconds, the Nicolas Cage play. Mr. Plus, give me your method of victory in this fight. How does Silva get it done?
You know, he could do it any way. He could knock him out. He could submit him. Is anybody else hearing that nonstop karate fights, or is that just my phone fucked up? I might have to jump out and come back in. They keep going like nonstop. I've heard it like 10 times in a row now. No, I think Gene Silva gets this done inside the distance for sure. Not exactly sure how I'm going to put the bet in yet. Probably by knockout, though, man. He's got vicious elbows, knees. He can really get the job done, and I could see him putting Bryce Mitchell out of there. I mean, listen, Bryce Mitchell got put out of there last time by Josh Emmett, right? And the time before that, he got subbed when he lost to Ilya Taporia. So he can go down either way, but I do feel like, Gene Silva could definitely get him on the striking. I'll be right back, jumping back.
Mr. Plus suffering from a rare case of UFC schizophrenia where you hear fight noises in your head and you just, who is that? You're just fighting your own brain. All right, well, he's going to dip out real quick. Slick, let's go over his last leg. And it's Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Oh, my God. I mean, we got to wait for him to come back for a second. There he is. It's Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And holy smokes, Chandler taking him on. I'm expecting pure violence, guys. I feel like this could potentially be the banger of the night.
I was thinking that. You son of a gun. Boom.
Yo, if this one it could see the final bell, but I'll be surprised if it does because Slick, we know the way Chandler fights. It's pure chaos. It works or it doesn't work. It's his recklessness is he thrives in it or it works completely against him and he gives himself up in a horrible position, right? He's fought better level of competition, of course, than Paddy, but Paddy's got actually a longer pro career than people realize. He's 22-3. He's been in a couple 5-rounders and Cage Warriors. No, he hasn't fought the high level of the UFC yet, but man, he looks jacked. He looks like he's coming into his athletic prime. And I think he's ready for this test. I'm with Mr. Plus. I think he can get it done against Chandler, who, if he takes him down, I think might find himself in a world of trouble. Paddy's jiu-jitsu is up there, man. I put it up with the top of the guys in the division. And I can see him getting him in danger and hurting him. Even on the feet, I think he'll be totally competent at range with his kicks. And as they say, Scousers don't get knocked out. Or as Cody Garbrandt said this week, sorcerers don't get knocked out. Man, what the hell is wrong with that? I think he's he's early CTE, Cody Garbrandt. But in any case, Patty the Batty Slick, what do you think of him as a favorite in this spot?
I'm so mad at myself, man. You know, I was going through some stuff last week, and at the end of the day, man, I looked at this line last week, and Patty was a plus money dog, and I was so mad I didn't slam this fight, man. At the end of the day, man, why, in what world in 2025 can you trust Chandler to win a fight? Like, this is a guy that, I honestly believe, all jokes aside, he could lose this fight, and he'll be like, Conor McGregor, let's fight in BKFC. You're the chairman. Let's fight in BKFC. I'm done with the UFC. I can't be champion, so I'm done. Let's fight in BKFC. And I really don't think, like, I've seen, like, probably outside of all the power punches that Chandler has fought, I really don't think anybody can knock out like Patty unless they drown him. Like, like, I think you have to be a tired, like when Patty, he had a bad weight cut against Tony Ferguson, and he looked dead in that third round. I just don't think, like, we seen the one thing that we know Chandler is he's just too predictable with his strikes. Like, he throws looping overhand rights. He hurt Charles Oliveira in that 5th round. And the one thing that we know about him, and before that finish, like before him getting Oliveira down, his takedown defense isn't as great as everybody makes it seem like. He's a great wrestler. I think his takedown defense is good in the 1st or 2nd round. But I think this is a 5-round fight. All Patty needs is to fight to get to the ground one time. And no disrespect, but we seen fake black belt Dustin Poirier body triangle and choke out Michael Chandler in round 3. Like, did we forget about that? Like, people seem to forget, like, Dustin Poirier is only known for his guillotine, and he chokes out Michael Chandler in the 3rd round. Justin Gaethje lands a takedown on Michael Chandler. Like, I'm not too high. Even if he hurts Patty, I'm not even too high that he finishes Patty, because at the end of the day, who has Michael Chandler finished? Even in the UFC, he fought Dan Hooker that was supposed to fight at featherweight, but the next thing you know, he ended up fighting Michael Chandler on short notice. So I'm not, like, he hasn't really shown no knockout ability in the UFC outside of fucking his first fight in the UFC. I'm not too high on it. I think Patty shows his toughness. He shows his durability. And the one thing that we know about him is that his grappling is I'm not even talking about his grappling. His squeeze is just something else. Like, once he gets you in that position, it's pretty much over. Like, you're not escaping the rear naked choke. You're not escaping the triangle. You're not escaping the guillotine. So I think this is Patty's time to shine, and this is the perfect matchup for him. Outside of Charles Oliveira, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu that doesn't, you really don't want to play grappling with him, and then a guy like Dustin Poirier, great boxing on the feet, but Poirier didn't want to fight him either. So, hey man, this is a great spot for Patty. Patty by 2nd round submission.
Yo, round 2 sub, Mr. Plus. What's your call? You said you like the sub too. Pick a round.
Yeah, I think so too. But all I'm going to say is this too. He beat the old Dan Hooker. I don't even know if he could beat the new Dan Hooker. That was Dan Hooker 2021. That was his only victory. I'm not sure he could beat Dan Hooker nowadays. But yeah, no. Chandler just doesn't beat people that are good in the UFC. It just doesn't happen. So I think Patty's going to roll. And yeah, I see it too. Round 2, maybe round 3, maybe he can survive to round 3, but yeah, violence in the beginning of this one. Patty doesn't get knocked out, goes to the mat, uses fight IQ, maybe controls it, and then second round realizes he's got it and takes him down, beats him that way. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Can't wait.
Body triangle. I see it the same way. They find their way to a floor after a crazy exchange. Body triangle locks in. Shit is a padlock. He can't get up. Fighting subs the whole round, and then eventually maybe he can't last anymore.
And one thing I gotta say, if Chandler does end up knocking down Patty, he's gonna go into his guard. He's not that smart to be like, all right, get up. He's gonna go into his guard. It's not like Patty. That's just Chandler. That's the way he fights his whole career. He's gonna go into his guard, and that's gonna give Patty time to get his wits about him and everything else.
Yo, here's an interesting look, because Jameson in the chat says Chandler will cheat his ass off too. He's known for these dirty tactics, right? The fish hooks of Dustin Poirier, grabbing the gloves, little eye swipes and shit. He fights dirty. But Cal says point deduction. Darce podcast in the chat. That's Cal firing away some of his plays and his thoughts. Point deduction could be live in that fight. I might look at that. I like it. All right, guys. We got the banger of the night. We got ourselves a plus bus. The Slick Report has been underway. Now it's time to put our hands together for the Brasco Breakdown.
Brasco's Breakdown. Brasco's Breakdown.
And this week, with no fear in my heart, I'm going to a big spot. Cal, get it ready, because we're going straight to the main event of the evening. And this week, fellas, it is in fact a changing of the guard spot. For the vacant featherweight title fight, I'm picking Diego Lopes to dethrone the former dominant champion, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. And I'm not going to lie, this breaks my heart because Volk is my prince. He's been one of my favorites for so long, but I have to take it. And look at the odds slipping away. Guys, I got this at plus 125. I put it out to my people, and now minus 102 on FanDuel. Here comes the sharp money. I simply can't trust Volk's chin anymore. I know that he has perhaps the technical striking advantage. His boxing, we saw against guys like Max Holloway on display, right? In that third fight, he was able to even outbox him. Those low kicks, the wrestling. Volk can do it high level everywhere, and he's only gotten better. But after two brutal knockout losses to, yes, the elite, but brutal knockout losses, the head kick of death to Islam Makhachev and the right hook dusting by Ilia Topuria, I think his chin's been cracked. And I can't trust it to hold up over 5 rounds against Diego Lopes, who isn't the level of striker, technically, that those guys I just mentioned are maybe, but has heavy hands. It doesn't need to be pretty for him to find the target. His dirty boxing exchanges are really what I think he thrives with. And if he can get a hold of Volk, clinch up with him, and just land some of those, I can see the chin kind of cracking. I can see just Lopez's explosiveness, finding the target, finding a way to land some shots and damage on Volk. And we see that durability kind of just chip away and fade and then be compromised. Just the tides turn in this fight. Also, Volk, if he tries to wrestle, we saw he almost got submitted by Brian Ortega. I think he might find it dangerous to wrestle and engage in that with Lopez, a guy whose grappling is so tricky. So I think wherever this fight goes, I know it's a 5-rounder. I know it's the legend Volk. I think Lopez is ready, man. You see it, man. His self-belief is at an all-time high, and you back guys at the peak of their game. I think he's ready to become champ. I'm going with Diego Lopez to get it done over Volk, and I can't wait to hear what the fellas think. Mr. Plus, I'll lead it off with you. What are you feeling for this vacant featherweight title fight?
Man, I love Volk just like the next big UFC fan, I really do. But yeah, I got to feel it too. We were talking about this in our group chat, and I just feel like it is a changing of the tides, and it's time for a new wave of the young guys to come in and be these top guys. And man, I'll say this too: Diego Lopez is fucking massive for 145. I mean, he's 5'11". As long as he has a good weight cut and looks good on the scales, which I'm sure he does, he's in great fucking shape. I feel like he comes into the octagon at like 160, man. He can weight bully Volk too. So I just don't know. Volk definitely has the higher fight IQ. We've seen Diego get into some fucking brawls, right? But yeah, man, it might just be time's up. I get it. Alexander the Great. I mean, he gave us a lot of great shows and beat a lot of guys that like Max Holloway. We didn't know if he would. Definitely a great showing. Definitely legendary. Definitely Hall of Famer. I just think it's a time for the new wave of these young guys. And we saw the win against Brian Ortega. I mean, he's there, man. Diego Lopez deserves this. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this fight. This is probably going to be my favorite fight, so I'm going to be locked in live. Hopefully I'm not too drunk by this fight, I'm going to be honest with you.
It's going to be a banger, man. I could see it even going deep potentially. Slick, I'm curious to see how you see this fight playing out because styles make fights, right? I think a lot of people reference, well, this is what happened with Lopez versus him, and this is what happened with Volk versus Max. I think throw it all away. This matchup is a unique one of itself, right? So stylistically, how do you think it matches up?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's a different of itself because the one thing I think that we're counting Volk out a little bit too much in this spot, because the one thing that we know about those two knockouts that he had against Islam and Topuria was those two guys are two technicians on the feet. That's not Lopez. Lopez thrives in the chaos. And me personally, I think you could throw Yair and Ortega in a blender, and that's basically Diego Lopez. We seen Volk fight Yair, dominate him in those later rounds. We seen him fight Ortega. He was damn near at death's door. But outside of that, he dominated that fight. The one thing that we know about Lopez is, I think the one thing that we got to really value about Lopez in this spot is just his way to create chaos. He'd rather get hit so he could hit you with that 2-3. I'm really going to say that I just can't pick a fighter in this spot, in the sense that I'm really just don't know what's going to happen. We got Volk that, me personally, that if this fight gets to that third, fourth, and fifth round, Volk will probably dominate. Like we seen Volk get better as the fight goes on. And if this fight doesn't get finished in the first or second round, which we only seen Topuria and Islam knock him out in the first round, I'm not too high on Diego Lopez. We seen him be on his back for multiple times, even outside of those fights that he finished early, outside of the UFC against guys like Brito in the UFC and guys. I'm just not too high on his ability to submit a guy like Volk, in the sense that unless he catches him in the arm bar and breaks his arm or something like that, I just think that this is a spot that I'm not ready to fade Volk. We've seen Volk time and time again get into that chaos and come out on the other side. Now that we're comparing Lopez to two technicians on the feet that set up those two type of strikes beautifully. Topuria was going to the body, was getting the leg kick going, made Volk get into a corner. I'm just not too high on the one thing that we know about. I'm just not too high on Lopez to create chaos in this spot. I think we see Volk play a little bit of the matador, get the calf kicks going. And if the calf kicks start eating up on Lopez, that power is just going to get weaker and weaker as the fight goes off. So, hey, man, I'm gonna stay away from this fight. As a pick, I'm gonna take Volk, but I'm just not ready to bet against Lopez or Volk in this spot. I'm gonna take no distance, if anything.
There you go. Fair enough. I mean, this is how I see it, because I don't disagree with the fact that Volk may make Lopez early on look like, hey, I'm the champ here, right? He even picked up the first round against Makhachev, right? And like Max picked up the first round against Ilya. Like, these guys look good still. I think he'll be competitive until something compromises him. That's how I see it. This is going to be a banger, though, and we're kind of split. Cal likes Volk in the comments. Plus wasn't, he was kind of touchy on the fight. It's a tough one, man. But I think it could be good. Now, I trust Lopez if it gets nasty and goes deep, so I'm going to take the shot on it. And the main event should be a fucking epic one, fellas. All right, guys. Great discussion on that. Now it's time to get some plus money going. Let's let them out the cage. It's time for the Dogs of the Week. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Please run it up for us. Help us grow the show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Hope you guys are getting some good intel and picks, whichever way you're siding. First dog, it's a really exciting one that I'm fired up to talk about. Mr. Plus, lead it off for us. Who are you going with?
I really love this fight for no distance. It's definitely going to be a banger. I'm going with an old dog. This guy's been in UFC for a minute. John Jones is almost lost to this guy, because some would say he did. Give me Dominic Reyes to win plus money against Krylov. Nikita Krylov just hasn't been active. He's been gone for 2 years. I was pretty high on this guy when he was fighting consistently. He took that L by Paul Craig and then won 3 straight. Has one okay win, the Ozdemir win, but the Ryan Span's not impressive. We all know how that goes. Ryan Span's toast. Reyes, on the other hand, was inactive for a while, came back 9 months ago, knocked out Jacoby. Then he knocked out Anthony Smith. Not that that's super high level and way impressive to me, but I do think he could beat a guy like Nikita Krylov. I just think he's going to be able to stand up. He's got that slick stand up. He's got crazy knockout power, and he's going to be the bigger guy. So as long as he can not get taken down and crushed on the ground, I think this is Dominic Reyes' fight to lose, and I see value on the plus 160 side.
I'm riding with you, man. I like Dominic Reyes, and I will say, I think it's a really hard fight for him because, like you mentioned, Krylov's been away for 2 years, but I looked up, like, was it because of injuries or whatever? He just had a couple fights canceled, and maybe he's just waiting for the matchup he wants, but he wasn't injured, right? There's nothing really horrible went on in his career. So if he's healthy and good to go and in top form, I mean, these guys are still, they have plenty of fight left, right? Despite Krylov's only 32, and like you mentioned, despite Reyes taking that ugly 3-fight losing streak where he took a ton of damage, Jan Blachowicz knocked him out cold. The Ryan Spann power jab, that was just a low point in his career. He came back, and I feel like he's got a second wind of his career. I feel like he's ready to come back and become the guy that should have beat John Jones in that title fight, right? And bro, he's an explosive southpaw striker, Slick. I think he's live. If he doesn't get wrestled and they strike, I think he could land damage. I think you find that left cross down the pipe maybe, and this should be a really good back and forth fight. I'm siding with plus. I'm going with Reyes to ride a second win in his career. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, the no distance in this spot is definitely a spot I'm gonna look at. No matter what the odds is, no matter what it is, it's a great parlay leg. And I'm honestly gonna say I'm just not ready to bet Reyes in this spot. Because one thing that we know about Reyes in those last two fights were those guys don't create chaos. Nikita Krylov, out of 39 fights, has been to decision probably twice in his career. Like, he has great submissions off his back. He's only been knocked out one time out of 39 fights. I'm like you said, the durability. I mean, the layoff is what scares me because you're coming in here against a striker. Nikita Krylov isn't that a wrestling heavy first guy. So if he tries to come in here and just tries to wrestle Reyes, and next thing you know, Reyes has great takedown defense from what I've seen. Like, he was able to fend off John Jones, a great wrestler in his own right. And if this fight is on the feet, I just think one of these guys, like at the end of the day, one of these guys is going to get knocked out. I don't see neither of these guys subbing each other. Nikita Krylov, I think the difference will be in his fight, in his range is the leg kicks. He has great body kicks, great head kicks. So maybe he lands a head kick. Reyes, one thing we know about him is he doesn't really keep his hands up. He's more like moving his hands at all times in the ring. So maybe he gets caught with a head kick, but I'm just not ready to bet on Krylov because the timing is probably going to be an issue in this spot. And Reyes has been active. So I think the timing does favor Reyes. As a pick, I'm going to pick Reyes, but I'm just not ready to bet on against Krylov in this spot because I just think we're just overestimating Reyes' chin a little bit too much. Like he fought a nice, solid, not really good power puncher in Jacoby and Anthony Smith. Like at the end of the day, Anthony Smith tells on that. So Krylov could be the one to test his chin.
It could be. It very well could be. I like your look on no distance, and I like the idea of the momentum and the timing and the rhythm, right? And he's the guy that's hot right now. We'll see though. Could come to a halt real quick. It's a really good matchup, and Krylov's a tough ass fighter. But I like the Dominic Reyes look from Mr. Plus. Slick, who's your dog of the week, man?
Yeah, this might not be a real famous one. He's a guy that's coming in from Bellator, but we're going with Patricio Pitbull in this spot over Yair Rodriguez. I just think this, honestly, Patricio Pitbull has just never been KO'd outside of, I think he has been KO'd twice, but one of them was a fight that he fucking went to Ryzen, had those in that time zone with China and all that. I don't think he was ready for a top guy like that. And then the other time was when he went to 145, try to get 3 belts. I'm just not too high on Yair's takedown defense in the spot. And we've seen time and time again, Yair, whenever you get him there, yeah, he'll throw subs. Yeah, he'll try to make, throw up kicks or whatever. But more than likely, if you're a good wrestler, you're going to keep him down there for at least 2 to 3 minutes of the fight. I don't think I could see Pitbull getting 8-9 minutes of control time. And the one thing that we know about him is that he has good power in his own right. Yair is as hittable as they come. We've seen Max Holloway. At the end of the day, it's Max Holloway, but Max Holloway landed close to 200 strikes. Volk fucking pummeled him on the feet. Josh Emmett landed damn near 3 clean punches that I don't know how he ate them. But he has a great chin. But I think Pitbull has shown time and time again in the Bellator, only fighting the top of the top. I think is a great spot for him to get the wrestling going, make Yair worry about the wrestling, and then he's going to be able to land his overhand rights or overhand lefts in this spot. And one thing we know about Pitbull, he's not a one-trick pony. You know, we've seen Yair be able to take advantage of guys with those one-trick ponies, like a guy like Andre Feely, like a guy like Josh Emmett. I'm not too high on him to take advantage, and I'm not too high on him to get a KO over a good, durable Patricio Pitbull.
Nice breakdown on Patricio Pitbull, plus 165 here. Coming in from Bellator, was a dominant champ here. Can he have success in the UFC, Mr. Plus? What do you think about him against Yair? Are you with Slick?
Nah, I'm not. I think the line is right on this one, Slick. I'm a fan of Pitbull too, but I'm not a fan of Bellator. I can't tell you how many Bellator cards I've lost my absolute shorts. That fucking fight organization is a joke of jokes, and their fighters just suck. They're not UFC caliber, and that's why when they come to UFC, they get their asses fucking beat. And let's be honest, this isn't Pitbull in his title reign prime. This is 5 years later, and dude, he's 38 years old almost. Yair's had some good time to recover. I think this is a great spot for Yair to keep himself in the top 5, maybe even push up more and get more back towards that title contention. Man, Yair is dangerous. Remember that reverse up elbow KO? I mean, this dude is fucking nasty, tricky. I think he's going to be faster, slicker, better striking. And yeah, maybe if Pitbull can control it a little bit and use his experience in clinching and grappling, he can make it boring and potentially get a dub that way. Because I'm sure the UFC wants this guy to win, right? He's such a big name. But he's getting old. He's not in his prime. Yair's still young, 32 years young. I think that fucking Pitbull gets worked. I think we could see a Yair finish him and see just an aging Pitbull try to get in there. But maybe I'm wrong, man. Look at whatever that dude wrote. What's the dude from Cuba that's still fighting who's like 48 and looks like
Yoel
he's
Romero.
fucking, yeah, Yoel Romero. Bro, well, look at this guy. He's 48. So I don't know. Maybe these guys age different, but I'm telling you right now, I think we're going to see some fatigue. And, you know, listen, Pitbull's also lost 2 out of his last 3 fights, like you said, on the Ryzen and to Sergio Pettis. But, man, I think there's a good spot for Yair. Rangy, great fucking reach advantage here. And that's what he's going to look to do. Strike, kick, back spinning elbows from hell. I like Yair, man. I almost threw him on the bus.
Wow. So plus liking Yair, a good deal. Cal in the comments, he likes fight to go the distance, and Yair Rig is by decision. That's a tight one there too, because plus seeing some violence perhaps could be holding your breath. But I'm going to break the tie here, or I guess end up making it a tie. I'm kind of with Slick, man. I worry about Yair in this spot a bit. You mentioned, I mean, he's extremely dangerous. His up elbows, his unorthodox striking, he's so creative. And his kicking is like, they're like fucking anvils smacking you. I mean, holy smokes, he's got power in those kicks. But if you can get past the kicking range, he is kind of sloppy boxing. Slick mentioned it. We saw Volk and Max, and yes, really good fighters, but other guys smack him up with shots inside. And Pitbull has some pretty solid boxing. He's pretty measured. He's calm. He doesn't force it. He waits for the counterpunch. So if Yair's giving him openings, I think the counterpunch might come. And then I can't trust Yair's wrestling defense. Like Pitbull, like you said, Mr. Plus, I think Pitbull will make it boring. And I think he'll win by making it boring and finding those counterpunch moments and then making it boring and controlling. And Yair just not finding that big unorthodox strike. That's how I see it playing out. So I'm with you, Slick. I like Pitbull. Mr. Plus and Cal liking Yair to get tricky with it, smack him up with crazy flurries of strikes. It's a great fight. So we're split on that one, fellas. But hey, can't always agree. All right, I hope you guys agree with my dog of the week, because this guy might have the most dog in him out of anybody. It's Darren, the Damage Elkins. And this guy will be on death's door, half of his skeleton showing, and he'll still keep fighting. He will fight for our money at plus 285. He's fighting Julian Erosa. Tough matchup, I guess, because Erosa's a guy who might be able to submit him. He's got crazy front chokes. And he's got a huge ranginess to him, right? He might be able to land some knees or straight shots. Elkins is tough, but we know he's tough because he's so hittable. So he's going to have to walk through damage once again. He's going to have to make it a war, but we've seen him just break guys with his relentlessness and will to win and wrestling and ability to just walk through the fire more than they can. So plus, do you think Elkins can walk through the fire for a plus 285 and break Erosa?
Juicy J is a friend of the pod. I sent him a care package. He's got bags, hat, and bag shirts. It's hard to bet against him in general, especially at minus fucking 400. I think the line's off. Okay. Obviously, if you're betting on this, the pick is Julian Erosa. The bet, if you're betting this, is dog or pass. Man, if you want a guy who's going to fight for your money, he's a different kind of 40 years old, man. He's not really 40. This dude's a zombie in Darren Elkins and Brasco's pick here for the dog of the week for him. He's dangerous. He's scary. I just think Julian Erosa is going to be stronger in there, and he's got pretty decent fight IQ. Man, I got to lean submission by Juicy J on the pick, but if you want to bet it and take a shot of that dog, plus 300 ain't looking too bad. He's gonna fight for you. He's gonna fight till he's dead. He's gonna fight till he's dead, straight up.
Exactly. And he might get choked out. He might get darsed or something. So it could happen. But I'll take the shot, Slick. What do you think? And let's pick up the pace, boys, because we should finish in under an hour. Slick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we've seen Darren Elkins. He only been submitted one time in his career. He fought a more dangerous guy that has more submissions than Julian Erosa in his last fight against Daniel Pineda. I'm just not ready to say that Julian Erosa is going to sub him or knock him out. So at this point, I gotta go with our guy Darren Elkins. And Julian Erosa is a friend of the pod, but Darren Elkins did share the Slick report when I had him.
There you go. Friends of the pod all around. I mean, it's love every way. Julian Erosa, Juicy J, Darren the Damage Elkins. We love you guys. We're excited for that. Could have been the banger of the night. Very well. All right, guys. Those are the dogs of the week. Plus is on Dominic Reyes. Slick is on Patricio Pitbull. I'm on Darren Elkins. Here we go. And now let's come together, boys. Let's lace them up for a Darce parlay. One more time, we appreciate everyone in the comments. Hit the like button if you haven't already, because we're going to share a plus 275 podcast parlay. Mr. Plus is leading off. You got the first leg. What are we going with, bro?
I'm going with Verna Jandiroba. I'm butchering that so bad. I'm going with Verna. She's on her way up. She's on her way to title contention. And this is a fight that she just needs to get past to fight Weili Zhang, right? That's the next fight. That's the next fight. It's for the belt. So she needs to get past Yan Xiaonan, who's fucking dangerous as shit. She definitely knows what she's doing. However, I just think Verna's going to be better almost everywhere, especially if she can get this takedown. This is one I see going the distance, but I'm taking Verna by decision. I think she's going to have her in spots where she almost submits her, almost finishes the fight, but bell will probably ring. Saved by the bell. Give me Verna to start off the Darce.
I like it, man. Verna has such a big grappling advantage in my eyes. Like we saw, like you said, Yan Xiaonan Slick is dangerous. He mentioned the right hand was stinging Weili. He dropped her a couple times, but ultimately she just can't defend good wrestling, and she gets overwhelmed by elite grapplers. Verna might be the best grappler in the division. Low key, her jiu-jitsu might be better than Weili's. Wrestling might be better than Weili's. Like if she gets her back, like Aljo style, it might be a wrap. I like Verna a good deal. What do you think, Slick?
Yeah, this is a spot I got to go with Verna. And one thing we know about Yan is that she has good initial takedown defense. But Verna Jandiroba, you just don't know when the fuck she's going to be able to grab your back. She throws herself onto your back if she has to. And the next thing you know, she creates a scramble, and then you're down on your back. And the one thing that we know about freaking Verna is that once she gets you down, she has great control. So give me Verna Jandiroba by sub.
Was that Verna on the screen just now? Or was that a legendary?
She popped up on the show.
Sure was. There she is.
That is outrageous.
Oh my God. We're going to hell.
Rob Schneider is a stapler. Oh my God. That's amazing. Cal. Verna Jandiroba, first leg. I put a lot of money on her already. I hope that we don't get bad karma from that. No, we're huge fans. Next leg. I'm going up. And we talked about it already. It's Lord Gene Silva. He's knocking Bryce Mitchell out, man. Mitchell, like Slick said, after he fails on that first takedown attempt, it's wraps. He's going to get starched with something serious. I'm calling spinning elbow knockout, Gene Silva, round 2. Slick, what's your leg of the Darce?
We're going with the main event to not go to distance. I just see a lot of avenues of this fight not go to distance. Lopez early, Volk late, Volk getting clipped. I mean, getting his arm broken. Lopez getting tired and Volk taking over. Give me main event no distance, and it brings us to a nice hedge. You main event no distance like minus 160. You want to take a nice hedge on it, plus 130 for the payback.
Perfect. And if you like that to go deep, then if we hit the first two legs, you're in a hedge spot in the main event. Works out when we can hit the first two legs. So I like that strategy. All right, guys, Darce parlay plus 275. Beer Najendi Roba, Gene Silva, Volkanovski versus Lopez, not to go the distance. Put them together and you get a banger from the fellas this week. Just a few more fights to cover before we're out of here. Stick around, guys, as we still got to talk about the honorable mentions. First fight of the night, Nora Cornole taking on Haley Cohen. I'm going to say this real quick. I don't think Haley Cohen is UFC caliber. And I think Cornole is getting a little better. I'm not all that high on her, but she's got the ability to land damage and actually fight in this one. Cohen's just going to be shooting takedowns. I think she's going to fail. I think Cornole's going to beat her up in the clinch, probably win a decision. Mr. Plus, how do you see it?
Yeah, I thought that Cavalcanti fight was a good one. I'm with Cornhole. That's what I call her all day long. Haley Cohen's not going to be in the UFC much longer.
Cornhole is crazy. Slick, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'm on cornhole as well. But I honestly think she can knock out a girl like Haley Cohen. I think if she gets her in that corner and start raining blows, I think she could definitely knock her out. So I might take a little small sprinkle on cornhole by KO.
The cornhole KO, hey yo. Actually, now that you guys are, I could see her like elbowing her in the clinch, just beating her up. Maybe I'll look at that KO. It's gonna be good plus money. Next fight, Marco Tulio taking on Tresean Gore. Plus, I know you're a big Contender Series guy. Tulio came up heavy and then debuted against Ihor Potieria and was like, okay, I know Ihor's not all that, but I was like, this guy might be someone to watch out for. He's serious. What are your thoughts on Tulio against Gore?
Absolutely, and this is a fighter that he's going to get through with fucking ease. I think he's going to beat the fuck out of Gore. This is a good parlay piece for the night, and I definitely see him doing it inside the distance. Gore's like 5-2. This guy has 7 professional fights. Just doesn't have the experience. I'm telling you right now, Tulio is a guy we got to keep our eye on. He's going to be working his way up the charts in the rankings.
I think he's 13-1, and he's at Shoot the Box Diego Lima. So seems like he's a fighter, a legitimate fighter. It's like Gore's got the crazy, just raw athleticism, and he's got the guillotine squeeze from hell. Is there any chance you give Tresean Gore at all?
Nah, man. I honestly didn't do no tape study for this fight. I only had to see that Cody Brundage was able to take full mount on Gore and get a KO. So at any moment, I can't trust his chin. So I'm gonna take Tulio by knockout.
Yeah, I agree with the guys. I don't think Gore is made for the UFC. He's tremendously athletic, but he's not skilled enough yet. All right, next fight, and this is a banger actually. Michal Olejejczyk taking on Cedriques Dumas. Olejejczyk finally a betting favorite. He's normally a dog. They normally kind of feed him to the wolves. He's fought at middleweight, light heavyweight, and he's taking on some really tough competition, right? Kevin Holland and Michel Pereira, and these guys of the world, right? Like ranked competitors. This is by far his most winnable matchup. And he did this training camp with the Fighting Nerds. I saw him do a video, and Kyle Borralho is going to be in his corner, and they're all buddies. I'm like, shit, I like me some Michal Olejejczyk. He's underrated, man. He's got some tricky boxing. He could pop. I think he has a chance to finish Dumas on the feet, maybe spark him. Mr. Plus, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Michal Olejejczyk just says yes to fighting anyone. The dude's an absolute dog, and he's unfortunately got fed some serious competition. Kyle Borralho, Michel Pereira, Kevin Holland, even when he was on his upswing, Shara Bullet. I mean, he had to fight some crazy competition. I like Michel. This is a great spot for him. Cedriques Dumas. This guy can't beat anybody except the Tululian Can, who anybody could beat. Bro, give me Michal Olejejczyk to get back in the win column. I think he does it by finish. Give me the knockout, bro. Dude, he's a dog, bro. Push him forward. You're going to see. He's going to beat the beat the brakes off him. One of the reasons I'm going to watch the prelims and go early is because I really want to watch Michal Olejejczyk.
You got it. Yeah, he could put on a highlight, and you referenced the Cedriques Dumas win over the Tululian Can. Longtime listeners of the show will remember the rare element that Mr. Plus discovered, Tululian medals. Amazing callback there. Slick, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Plus on this spot. I'm gonna have to go with Michal Olejejczyk in this spot. I just think that he's gonna be able to land that left hand. I'm not too high on Cedric Dumas boxing. He has a good counter punch, but I'm just not too high for him to land that counter punch before Olechechek lands that left hand. And we've been crying for Olechechek to go to 185. Now he finally got to 185 and got fed two killers in Michelle Pereira and Kevin Holland, two rangy strikers. I'm not like Mr. Plus said, like the guy went to decision with Dennis Tululin, to decision with Cody Brundage, and to decision with Azaitar. Those guys were getting finished at the tail end of the career. I'm a fade Cedric Dumas again.
And Dirty Rag in the comments, kind of like when I saw the odds, I kind of agreed with him. He said, laying that kind of juice with Mikhail, no thanks. I can't trust either guy. I was like, Mikhail is a 2-1 favorite, man. I don't love it. And then I started thinking about the fight, and then I saw the Fighting Nerds videos. I was like, this guy is actually might be ready for to show himself. He's got 15 fights in the UFC. Did you know that? He's ready for a favorable matchup and a win here. So I actually do like it, and I ended up thinking the odds are justified. And finally, the last fight of the night is the biggest betting favorite against the guy with the most wins ever in the UFC. It's Chase Hooper, minus 800 against Jim freaking Miller, plus 550. Guy's got 43 fights in the promotion and 26 wins, but he's a 5-1 dog, Mr. Plus. Is Hooper, who's 16 years younger than him. By the way, in this lifetime, I never thought I'd see Chase Hooper as a minus 800 favorite. So, wow. Is he just going to abuse him? How do you see this fight playing out?
Man, Chase has been looking good, but Jim Miller is a dog, man. I'm not saying Jim has a shot here, but I think this might be able to go to decision. Maybe he takes a decision out. Maybe take Chase Hooper by decision. That's maybe the player. I mean, if not, I want obviously Chase. I want to bet on. I want to put him in something. Chase by submission or decision. That's going to be like minus 500. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. I do think Chase gets the win here. I just think this is a disrespectful line against Jim Miller, and I wish it was more like a minus 300 and we can bet on it or put it in something. But minus 800, god damn. I mean, Chase Hooper's looked phenomenal all four of his last fights. So he really, you want to talk about most improved UFC fighter. I just think it's because he got in the UFC so young. Now he's just coming into his prime. And man, the kid looks like he's putting on muscle like nonstop. He was skin and bones when he first got in the UFC. Now he looks fucking jacked. So yeah, I mean, Chase Hooper's going to win this fight. Decision probably or submission. So I don't know how I'm going to bet it or if I'm going to bet anything on it. The line's really wide.
Wow.
Talk about it.
It is wide, but Cal in the comments, he says Hooper, he says this line is off and that Miller could KO him. What huge recency bias with Hooper. Slick, do you think there's anything in Miller? I don't know if he can. Hooper's looked damn aggressive lately, man. I think he could overwhelm him and hurt him. I think Miller's done so, man. What are your thoughts?
I'm at the end of the day, bro. I'm just not ready to bet on Chase Hooper on these odds. I might honestly take a small sprinkle on Jim Miller in this spot. I think he has the power edge. I think he has the submission upside. Clay Guida. Chase Hooper does have great submissions, but I think he works for those submissions. He waits for that opportunity. I think maybe he gets caught in like a quick guillotine from Jim Miller. And if he gets you in that guillotine, man, we've seen him in interviews and all that shit. He says he could hold a guillotine for a whole round. And if he said it time and time again. So I believe him too. So like we've seen Chase, like if you really look and deep dive into these wins of Chase Hooper, all of those guys have grappling like defects. Steve Peterson, Alex Caceres in a grappling fight. Clay Guida, Nick Fury, Jordan Levitt. All these guys have grappling. Borshev, Clay Guida. All these guys have grappling defects. Jim Miller is going to offer up something off his back. He's just not going to stay there and get punched or anything. So maybe and the power, I think, all leans into Jim Miller. We've seen him time and time again have that one punch knockout. We didn't really see him knock out King Green because King Green, he was just on another level that night. It's one of those nights that some guys are just unbeatable, and King Green looked like he was one of those guys. So at plus 600, I might take a small sprinkle on Jim Miller. If not, just take the fight to not go to distance because both these guys are susceptible to something happening. Yep. Jim Miller gets subbed. He's been subbed 3 times out of his 5 finished losses. Chase Hooper has been KO'd, if not wobbled, in damn near each of his fights. So, hey, man, I'm going to take this fight no distance, if anything, and probably take a small sprinkle on Jim Miller.
There you have it. Plus 600 dog could be live here. Maybe the odds are way off. Maybe Hooper just ends his career. It's going to go one of the two ways, I think. That one's not going to see in the final bell, I don't think. All right, guys, we did the damn thing. UFC 314. Yo, thank you for everyone watching live. Hit the like on the way out. And make sure you pay homage to Rob Schneider. We all like Rob Schneider this week. Cal on the ones and twos doing his thing. Mr. Plus Money, Slick Montana, and yours truly, Brasco Bets, here every week for UFC breakdowns. We'll see you next week for another one, guys. Thanks for watching the Darce Podcast. Peace.
Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Darce Podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darce Podcast.